Do you find yourself running, avoiding your healing journey because there's this idea that it needs to be perfect? Like it shouldn't be messy. But when you look at your healing process and what you need to heal from, it is super messy. Yeah, I know. Well, that's why we're here today, because I'm here to help free you from this idea of perfect healing. Today's episode is called She's a Beautiful Mess. We're going to be talking about how to heal, how to let go of the perfections and get messy with it and be unapologetic about it. Let's go. It's Natasha.
Unapologetic Living.
What is up? Natasha Bryant here, your host of Unapologetic Living, and this is another episode that is going to blow your mind. That's going to drop gems. Let me get that out. And that's going to have you walking away feeling bold and courageous to live as your unapologetic self, as always. And so this episode is all about really unapologetically going on your own healing journey. And I have my girl, Carma Ye, with me. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, y'all doing? How y'all doing?
She is all the things. So we're just going to sum it up to creative and holistic wellness mentor.
Love it. Thank you.
And she's here because we met at another podcast. My friend Aaron, who I grew up with, the creative producer, yeah,
Double A,
yes,
Aaron, yeah.
My sidebar. Make sure you check her out. Where can I check you out at?
Everywhere, all platforms, all streaming platforms at Carma.Ye on Instagram. That's Carma with the C, by the way, and all streaming platforms, Carma Ye Music.
Yes, because her music is dope. And it's all positive, affirmation-based, encouraging. I love it. And that's why you're perfect for today's episode, because you and I were talking about, on the show, there was a couple questions that were about just like healing and things like that. And you had some really profound things to say about healing journey, people, really going through that process. And so when I thought about this episode, I was like, I gotta have Carma Ye on here, because this episode is all about really letting go of this idea that healing is this like perfect process.
Yes.
Which leads to a lot of people running from the process of healing, because it ends up being so much more, it doesn't feel attainable, because there's this like vision, like I have to have it all together, or I'm not healed until everything is good, and or it's like this perfect process, but really it's messy.
Yes, it is.
Super messy.
Yes, it is.
So what are your thoughts? Why do you think, just as women, like we feel like we have to like have it, like things need to be perfect or things need to be in line before we can even talk about a story, start the process of healing? Like what are your thoughts on that?
I think that it is a very deep rooted perspective that was put on us way back when rules were being made for women's rights.
Yeah.
When we had to be the housekeeper, the housemaker, while men got to go out and work. Men got to go out and vote.
Yeah.
So, we had to keep things pristine and perfect so husband can come home happy, and then when we look at just media or marketing materials, when you see these models or the things that they put up, everything is so perfect, waist cinched. And this goes back hundreds of centuries down to like the dresses and the girdles that they would make.
Dresses,
It's like there was no room for realness. Everything had to be perfect. Or red carpet events, tip top perfection. And that's just the shell. That's not even talking about internal reality, things that we feel. Is like there was never a place for women to just be vulnerable, radical, unapologetic. So that just manifested into nowadays where healing is a trendy topic, but of course it has to be pretty and packaged. So I think it just manifested into this fake, positive washed perception of healing or what it should be.
I love what you said about it like being this package, because you're so right? Like there is like everything needs to look like that perfectly wrapped package with the perfectly tied bow.
Yes.
And it's not a good enough gift unless it has, it's taped perfectly. The edges. The creases. Yeah, the creases, the edges. The bow is perfectly, has a perfect like round, and the length is, and that's literally how we are even trying to live our own lives, which then connects with the comparisons, because then we end up looking at each other as women, which leads to the competition of who's most perfect, right? Whose story is not as messed up or clean.
Right.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to that, understanding that everybody, like, there's space. That's like, I feel like that's the first realization. The first realization has to be just like radical acceptance of, this is my life. It's not like anybody. It may be like other people's lives, but it's mine. And I see where I need to grow, and just accepting that first. Like, that's the first step to knowing it's time to do something. After the radical acceptance, it's like just creating the space for knowing, when I go outside, when I share my story, somebody might, because when we share our stories, people like to do the, oh, me too. That's where it's like, you just got to create space and understand we all go through something. It's not going to look the same as somebody else's. Somebody may be into yoga and you may be into throwing axes at the axe room. You don't have to heal or show your healing the same way. Yeah.
And what would you say, the misconception about the healing process? Because, this episode is called She's a Beautiful Mess, with the idea of recognizing that healing is messy and that's okay. But what do you think is the misconceptions about healing?
I think that because we hear the word heal or healing, it's like it's a positive word. So when we think of positivity, we think of like love and light and all good things, but not understanding the paradox of life, the seasons. Just when we look at the natural world, how it's beautiful spring and summer, but then we have fall and winter when things are like non-existent and cold and dead and dying. It's both sides. So when we look at healing, we have to understand, when you get that scab and it's bloody, there's a process before it heals. And it's not all pretty and love and light. And a lot of it comes with that acceptance that it's going to be some discomfort. So,
that the idea of having to be comfortable with being uncomfortable or the discomfort, I definitely think is one of the misconceptions of healing, is that it's not supposed to be hard. Or that it's not going to be hard. Or once you're healed, you'll never have to go through that hard journey again. I was actually on a call with someone, and it was a podcast discussion, and they were asking like, what do you mean? What do your definition of breakthrough and bloom is? And I was telling them that I often tell my clients that healing is like this forever, evolving process, right? Like, it's not a one and done thing, right? You're healed, and then you continue to grow and you're healing more and more, right? And so I was describing it that way, and the other person that was part of the discussion was like, I would have to disagree, because I feel like once I'm healed, I never have to heal again. I'm already evolved, and I've already, I never have to heal in that place again. I've now bloomed. And I get what she was saying. But that goes back to what we were just saying about how this idea of, if I'm still healing after I was started this healing process, it can make someone feel like they've regressed. It can make someone feel like they're not doing the work, or they're not working hard enough, or their areas of growth that they have to grow in is too messy or too hard, and they're never going to get to that place of evolution or bloom because they're still healing, not realizing that they are healing at levels.
Yes. At levels. An example of that is, say you come into a relationship, right? And you've been through a bunch of betrayal, you've been through a bunch of, mistreatment, and you had to do that work on your own, and you feel as though, okay, I love myself enough to try again. You may have healed in that way. Now, when you put yourself back in that space, and that person may be healthy too, but now new stuff is going to pop up. And just because new stuff is popping up doesn't mean, oh no, I'm not healed anymore. Now it's time to do the work so we can integrate those lessons that we were learning by ourselves. Integrating meaning like balance and blending them. And then you heal a little bit more. People see the conflict and they run, and they're like, oh no. This is going to mess up my healing. Actually, it's an invitation to challenge you to heal a little more, so.
Yeah, I love that, what you said about the invitation. Because often when I'm doing therapy with my clients, we have done the work, right? It could be on something like rejection, for example. We've done the work on rejection in a specific area, and they have healed. Like, they're no longer feeling rejected, or if they recognize rejection, if they see or notice rejection, they're able to like manage it in healthy ways, right?
Like, it's not personal.
Right. And then new things happen in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
New challenges happen, right? And then rejection pops back up. And then they feel like, oh, I thought it was over. I thought I was done. I thought I was through this. And I'm still, how's rejection still a factor in this situation?
Yeah.
And I have to tell them all the time where it's like, you know, it's at level. So you would not been able to heal at this level that you're at right now, right? You didn't have the emotional capacity, emotional muscle to be able to heal at this next level. You had to start at level 1.
Yes.
And now because you healed at this level, you have certain skills that you didn't have before. Mm-hmm. You have different types of emotional strength that you didn't have before. So you're not actually starting from scratch. You now have the capacity in this. You have the information, you're aware, the insight, the enlightenment of, oh, this is what this is. I know this is rejection because I went through the healing to know what rejection looks like for me. And now I can apply these skills. And so it's recognized, like, it's, like you said, we're constantly evolving and new things are going to pop up. And it's just an invitation to use the skills. I love that, what you said about that.
We look at things and, like you said, we're not looking at it as cyclistic. That's why I always try to mention nature, like we have our religions, we have our things like that. I like to look to nature because that's the most natural, God created thing. That's not, you can't put an influence on it. I mean, the government can, but we're not going to go there. Not today. That's not this episode. But when we look at nature, it's like, it's a never ending cycle. So in life, you have to put yourself in that space, meaning like, okay, I'm processing rejection now. It may not come up in a relationship. Now it may come up in my workspace. But it's rejection. But I've been here. Like you said, the muscle memory, that tool doesn't go anywhere. You just got to regulate and be like, wait a minute. I'm capable. I've been through this. Let me go get this tool and understand this rejection. It may be personal, but it's my choice to receive it as like, I'm not good enough. This isn't about me. So next opportunity. Next opportunity. What's next? So it's like you got to work your way through and rebuild that muscle. If you haven't been rejected in a while.
Right. And that's why healing is messy, because it's like it will come back up. And areas that you have done the work in will come back up and you will be a hot mess. A lot of times you might find yourself going back to old habits because just naturally your brain is like danger, right? And it's normal for you to naturally go back to old habits and do the things you used to do as that, because that's how you safely handled those situations. And then have to look and have a reflection back on yourself like, dag, I just realized I went back to my old habits. I now have to reflect, okay, what happened? Why this happened? Because I have the tools now to be able to do this reflection, the process in this way. How could I go back and be able to use these new skill sets in this situation? And that's why it can be messy, because it's like, you in the pit, you in the struggle with it all.
You got to keep going back to the kitchen and mixing, adjusting the recipe. You adjust the recipe. Another example that I can give of that is like family. So I've had to put space between me and my family for my own mental health reasons. And I love them, but there's boundaries. And because I'm a parent and, my kids, I don't want to be in the way of that relationship just because it impacts me negatively. So I don't just neglect that, because that would be avoiding. That would be fake healing, because now you're just avoiding, you're not challenging yourself to see, why is this? Understanding everybody's trauma, right? So going back into it after being away for years because of my children, I come back around. And when I come back around, I'm met with things that might trigger me in a way that's like, I can't do this. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm stronger, I'm bigger. Let's set boundaries and see how I can make it work. So I'm not just running from things. So boundaries helps a lot within the healing process. Understanding, not giving up. Don't give up. Just because you're afraid now doesn't mean it's really there to hurt you. That could be an internal thing. You're tying things together that don't belong together. That's why, compartmentalizing, understanding there's layers to everything. That's why when I said in the beginning, just acceptance of knowing something it needs to change, and then making space. Don't just jump to the first, excuse or fear and just let that scare you off from the healing. It's gonna, one of my good friends, Ziomara, she's a doula, shout out to Ziomara. She always says healing is not linear. When we think of healing and we look at the straight line, it's not, it's never, it's up, down.
It's all over the place.
Then that's where you go in your toolbox when something happens. You integrate those tools into that new lesson. and you come out stronger, you come out more aware, and you find that resilience builds. So the next time you met with rejection or a fear, it's not so hard to bounce back, because it's like, wait a minute, this just looks a little different, but I've done this already.
Right.
You know, and don't worry about what people think. Don't worry, because we're all going through something.
That part.
And like you said, people put it in they wrap it up, and they don't want to talk about their stories until it's like, oh, let me get it together. It's not good enough. They're gonna, no, share. Because there's wisdom for everybody in what you're going through. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm all over the place, but I don't.
No, you said a few things. We're going to park right here, but you said a few things that I would love for us to talk about when we come back, right? Mentioning this idea of like sharing the story, like the importance of sharing.
Yes.
Because that's what allows us all to recognize that we all are a beautiful mess. Like,
yes.
We just all up here, just a beautiful mess, just trying to get, just like working through life in a beautiful way, right? And then also there's the idea of, how to like break free from that level of the conversation of messiness through that resilience, right? Like once you're able to work through the healing, you build resiliency. And as a result of that, the healing, even when it's messy, you're able to navigate the mess. The mess is no longer scary.
Right.
It's no longer scary.
And when you do it enough, it's like literally building a muscle. Yeah. When you do it enough, not much thought has to go into it, because your body is remembering. It's like your body's keeping score of how you bounce back. And every time your body's going to flex that muscle, as you subconsciously get into that habit or that awareness. I know you could break that down more.
Yeah. Well, let's pause right there.
Gotcha.
As you can see, this conversation is full of all types of just ahas, light bulbs. So make sure you come back. You don't want to miss this. We will continue the conversation with my girl, Carma Ye. Are you ready to stop playing small and finally protect your peace and execute consistently? Welcome to Unapologetic Living University, an online coaching hub helping women gain the tools to set boundaries without guilt and execute goals with unshakable confidence. No more people pleasing, no more perfection paralysis, no more waiting for permission. Scan the QR code now and enroll. What is up? We are back. I'm Natasha, your host of Unapologetic Living, and I'm with my girl, Carma Ye. And we left right before break talking about resiliency. And one of the things that I think is really important to have a conversation about is just normalizing the imperfect process of healing. I think that's what causes a lot of women or just people in general to avoid or run from healing, because the idea of it being this messy, imperfect process seems like there's something wrong with them as a result of having to go through that. Like, it should be something that should be able to successfully go through without any problems, and not realizing, no, it's imperfect, it's messy. Right. And the resiliency is what will help you get there. Not necessarily you focusing on the accomplishment of, check that off, I healed in that area, I'm healed, and whatever title you want to give yourself or feel good about yourself because you got to that place. Right. But recognizing that the actual goal is really resiliency, because that's what's going to help you get through, like you were saying before, other issues that might come up that you weren't ready for in the past.
So something that you said during the break, people, like you just said just now, the accomplishments, when they check off that accomplishment, they're not thinking about the ongoing. When we're resilient, I look at resilient as an affirmation. If you understand that you are resilient, you're going to meet challenges different. You're not going to have a victim mindset, and you're not going to go into it feeling helpless and hopeless. You're going to understand, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I can overcome this. And even if it's challenging, I'm gonna be okay because I'm resilient. I'm built for this. As a human. Just our tolerance of, I feel like we have empathy for everybody else, but we don't have empathy for ourselves. And that's not to be a victim. Oh, woe was me. It's just to be like, yo, I'm living in a world that is just so, I'm living in a natural world, but living unnaturally. That's like the first thing that's just like, damn, I feel like it's set up against me. It's going to be a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Then you got to look at the way that we work. You got to look at the time that we have in a day and the things that we have to prioritize so that we can keep our lights on, even though we'd rather be doing something else. You know, have empathy for yourself. So when it comes to those little micro things that pop up that trigger you and impact your personality, you know, it's like you have to empathize with that and understand I'm resilient. Let me prioritize some things, you know.
Yeah.
And then I can get to things that really matter and I can heal those things. I feel like I kind of went off subject. But.
Yeah. No, you were on track. You know, it's the idea of like that understanding resiliency builds the confidence within yourself, right? Because confidence is not an emotion. Confidence is a skill set.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's why I always talk about like build confidence, strengthen confidence, right? Because it's something that you have to work towards to build, to be able to grow and embrace, right? And recognizing yourself as a resilient person helps build the confidence because you then trust in your abilities to handle hard things.
That's it.
You begin to trust your intuition, right? There's no more questioning or second guessing if what I'm thinking is the right thing, right? Or the decisions I made are the right decisions, right? You were like, no, I know what's best for me, or I know what I need. And that's what then makes this level of embracing the imperfection of the healing process. That's what helps you be able to do that, because once you build resiliency, which helps you build the self-confidence, then you're unapologetic about your process of healing.
Yes.
Like my path and your path are gonna be totally different, right? And so if I gotta do this detour, or I get derailed off the path, right? Or I go this other direction, I'm recognizing like, you know what? That's what I need, right? And it doesn't look as great as Karma's. Like she's doing her thing. She got all this going on, right? And hers looks so much simpler or whatever, but that's okay. That's her process. And my process might be a little rockier, might be a little bumpier,
right?
But that's okay because that's my process. And because I'm a resilient and I trust myself, I know that I will be able to make it over every single rock. I will be able to make it over every single bump. And I will come on the other end with a nice smooth path, right? To continue my healing journey. Yeah.
I do like that you brought up like just looking at people and it being different. What you see, you know, on social media and people, how they go about their healing, whether they're doing yoga or they're in the gym, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You know, when you see us and we're out here and we're smiling, engaging and being leaders in the community, when we're at home and we're in our safe spaces, it's not all love and light. It's not all positivity. There's crying. There's self-talk in the mirror. You mentioned insecure here. That's my life.
Yeah.
You know, I can recall a time when I was 260 pounds, right? I felt like I needed, a part of my healing journey was dancing in the mirror and then posting it on social media so that I would get out of my own way. Because I'd be like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed. They're going to judge me. But it's like, this is my process. Some people are like, you're attention seeking. It looks like that in my world, and people are going to judge what you do to heal yourself. Understand that behind closed doors, you're able to do what you need to do to heal yourself, and it doesn't matter what they think.
Yeah. I love what you just said there about like people looking from the outside in and then judging like, oh, she's doing this to be attention seeking. I think that's what makes it too, when we start judging ourselves. And you mentioned that self-compassion, right?
Yeah.
That causes us to not be compassionate towards ourselves because we are then taking on the opinions of others of what the healing process should look like. Mind you, their perception of the healing process is based on their experience, their healing process. It has absolutely nothing to do with an understanding of what you need and what your process looks like, right?
That's why space is so important. Just creating that space to let all of us show up, because we all bring something.
Yeah.
And it's not right or wrong. Like we all, that's why you can't allow other people to dictate how you heal, what you need to heal and how you heal it. That has to be an inward journey, and you got to empathize with yourself and understand that you are resilient.
Yeah.
You know, community matters though. Community does matter. So who, you know, some opinions, we do take on opinions, our friends, our family, things like that, our mentors. You just got to make sure that you're in a community where they're not breaking you down and there's space for you to authentically express the things that might scare people that are on their they call it California spirituality these days, the rocks and and I'm a supporter of those things. They're all tools and techniques on the healing journey, mental techniques, right? Resources. But people make it look a certain way, that it should be a certain way. Find your community where it's all about openness, authenticity, realness, acceptance, and space. You'll watch yourself keep on blooming because those people will amplify that radical, unapologetic sense of self. It's like, okay, they see me. This is my tribe. You do need community, though.
Yeah.
I'm saying inward, but you do need a community because environment matters.
Yeah. I think it's also understanding, especially when you're going through your healing journey and embracing the imperfect process of that, is recognizing that opinions are just thoughts and ideas. They're not facts about your situation. Right? All. Yeah. So whether it's the mentor or if it's just some hater on social media, right? Either way, it's just an opinion. And opinions are the ideas and thoughts of somebody else. And someone's ideas and thoughts are coming from their life experience. It's coming from their own core values. It's coming from their own, the education that they have, right? It's coming from them, right? What they've experienced. And so when you recognize that this is just a thought, it's just an idea, then you don't take it so personal or make it Bible about what's real about you. That's because you recognize that it's just a thought. It's just an opinion, an idea. It's not facts about my situation. It's not facts about who I am. It's not facts about my what's happening around me. And just like, it's just something that I can take in, and I can I get to choose whether I want to keep it or not, whether I want to, use a little bit of it to make decisions or not. But it does not have to be facts about who you are and what you do. And I think that's so important when you're going through your own healing process. Yeah. Understanding that most things, we're all just walking around projecting. We're all just walking around projecting, or like you said, there's so many layers from our childhood to our relationships, careers that influences us, our thoughts, opinions. We're speaking them all day, our preferences. People are going to do it all day. That's where self-awareness and acceptance of yourself, you'll become more resilient to when people start projecting, because you will be able to say, this is not about me. This is a them thing. That part. I'll listen. Piece. Yeah. When you recognize, you're like, okay, this is beyond me. This is not about me. And when you're able to not take things personally. That's a form of resiliency right there. That is the key right there, because you're not worried about what people think. And you're like, okay, let me get back to what was working for me, even if it's just doing this in the mirror. Like, this makes me feel good. My mood is good. Listen, when you have that bounce back, like that bounce back of like someone saying something, you're able to just bounce right back and recognize, like, okay, that's just their thought. That's just their idea. Or, okay, they are obviously going through something. This is beyond me, right? Then you're able to respond in that moment with a level of resiliency, a level of confidence, a level of, objectivity, where you're not, taking this in as like, this is about me. You're able to see in this bigger view that it's not just this one narrow issue. It's way bigger. Then it's a level of freedom with that. Yeah. I just got a random download. Let me see if it'll come out right. So understanding, right? It's in the mind. It's all in the mind. So when we look at resiliency, we look at all of those things, understand that it's in the mind. When our mothers were giving birth, right? They had to do it. We had to come out. In their mind, they were probably like, I'm not doing this. How I'm going to do this? This isn't the... But that was all mental, because they haven't been there before. So when you are faced with those challenges, when you are faced with the opinions of others or that fear of rejection or whatever, you got to understand first and foremost, everything is mental. When you pause, and we were also talking about just the discomfort. That's what it was from the first statement. I'm getting goosebumps now. The discomfort of healing. You have to know and accept it is going to be uncomfortable. And that discomfort is mental. It is mental. It's internal. Once you make space and you sit, you are a therapist. You could probably give me some scientific. I've read once, it takes 90 seconds for an emotion to like purge through if you just allow it. So understanding, like, just give it space, sit with it, and understand it's mental. And then things will start to open up and you'll start to see solutions. And then that is further building that confidence for you to make decisions for your healing.
So that was it. It was like the acceptance of discomfort and understanding that everything is mental. That discomfort is up here. And this is your brain. Your brain can't see for real. It's sitting in the dark. It's sitting in the dark in your head. So it's just creating stories for you to feel safe. But it doesn't, you got to be the observer of that mind and understand this fear is just all in my head. I have so many resources around me. You understand? Sit with that discomfort, understand it's going to come back up again, but we are resilient.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah. I think, just understanding that, and we're going back to like how to normalize, healing being imperfect and messy. I think that's it. The way you normalize it is accepting and normalizing the discomfort of it. 'Cause that's what makes it messy.
Yes.
Healing is messy because it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Healing is messy because it forces you to have to face things that aren't fun. I mean, think about just in general what mess is, right? Like if I make a mess, I gotta now get my hands dirty. I gotta like, wipe this mess up.
Nobody got time for that.
Yeah. And then you're like, I don't got time for to make this. I gotta clean this mess up. Now I gotta take this time to
put the rug on it.
Yeah.
Like put it on the rug.
Right.
That's
like,
what happens.
When we're talking about like actual real mess, nobody wants to clean up a mess because it takes time to do that away from what we really want to do. And it causes us to deal with things that are like, that we think is either sticky or nasty or, whatever. We're worried that we'll get our clothes dirty, whatever the mess is, right? And it causes us to have to like get uncomfortable and also get out of this idea of perfection. Because now you have to like, you might get dirty trying to clean up this mess. And that's what healing is. Healing is being comfortable with the messiness of it all, the discomfort, the hard times. There's so much beauty in it.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about making the space, that's so important because a lot of times, and this is what that people try to do to make healing perfect, is they try to fix things, they try to control things to make it be the way they want it to be.
It don't work like that.
When really, right, it's like if you just make space for the discomfort and allow yourself to work through it, a lot of times it's not even as bad as you think it was.
That's why I say it's mental. It's mental. I
was literally on the phone with my niece. She's 17. Well, she's about to be 17 in July.
Shout out, niece.
Hi. She had a typical teen issue, and she texted me and she's like, "Oh my God, Auntie Tasha, I totally messed up." Right? Had a whole teen issue, typical teen issue that she had. But she had to face the consequences because she didn't make the right choice, right? And, she is, really, overwhelmed, feeling overwhelmed, nervous about like what's going to happen. She has to confront her parents, what's going to happen, right? And I had to, tell her a lot of things we just talked about. One, it's like, listen, you lied, facts. Yeah, you put your parents in uncomfortable situations, facts, right? And you still are ... And I list all these great things about her. That goes back to what you're saying about the love, right?
Space, it all exists at the same space.
So that's that part about like the self-love piece. And then I told her, it's like, and now it's just time to normalize. Like she's like, yeah, I know. It's just I feel embarrassed. Facts. You feel embarrassed. Feel that.
It's gonna pass.
Yeah, you feel guilty and you feel embarrassed. That is okay. Allow yourself to feel that. I'll make space for those emotions. These next 24 hours are going to be heavy emotionally, but you'll be okay, right?
Yeah.
And so when you allow yourself to like work through the messiness of the things that we have to go through the healing process, you build that resiliency.
Yeah.
I
love that. Expect grief. Expect pain, expect uncertainty, expect those things. Expect them because that's just a natural part of life. Like it's a natural part of life. So that acceptance, that space, it leads to the resiliency because you allow yourself to get through it, work through it, like you said. Yeah.
Well, my final question to you is I like to end all my sessions asking my clients, their experience of being unapologetic. So for you, what is one thing that you appreciate most about being a beautiful mess?
One thing that I appreciate about being a beautiful mess is all that I get to learn and see about myself. you know, because we are so complex. We think we have one thing figured out and it's like, oh, this is what I want. But when I allow myself to be a beautiful mess, I discover new things that I'm interested in because I'm like, oh crap, I didn't see this here. But now wait, this is interesting.
Yeah.
What can I learn about this? You know, because we're just being exposed to different things that break us open. They break us open and it's like, oh, I didn't even know I could feel this way. But now how do I master this? What can I do? How can I build more with this? You know, so just being able to see myself and learn new things through my mess. Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
why I like being a beautiful mess.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Unapologetic
Thank you for having
Living.
me. I'm honored, girl.
Yeah, this conversation was amazing. It was amazing.
I agree. Necessary.
Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. Make sure you stay tuned for another episode of Unapologetic Living with Natasha. Make sure you watch the previous episodes as well. And as always, make sure you be bold, be safe, and speak life.
Thank you.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic living.
Oh, the smile. I like it. Girl, you're going to be editing.
Unapologetic living.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying hi to the camera.
Hi, camera. You knew just what to do, too. You smiled you held it for a few minutes. Girl,
Listen,
you ready?
I've done enough editing to know, like, the pause is real. Like, you do need that pause.
Girl, just in case you got to cut the clip.
Right.